Welcome to the New Earth podcast, recorded live from our vibrant New Earth cafe. Our surroundings are filled with authentic sounds and real actions, left unedited to preserve the genuine atmosphere we embody here at New Earth. You know, the bar guys, not just people who make coffees and things like that, they're alchemizing.
Totally.
They're creating these awesome concoctions, and it's all about, when you step into a role, what is the role? Is it just, I'm a guy making coffee, I'm a barista, or, hey, you're an alchemist now. You're putting these things together. You're the people like the front line before people need to go to the doctor. You're like the preventioners. And they come to see you because they're taking care of their house, so they don't need to see a doctor.
They said that food is a medicine, right? So you better
Food
start
be
with
thy medicine, as Socrates said.
Literally.
Exactly. So 100%.
And I'm a big customer, by the way. We order it to our home for lunch. I love the pizzas. It's so special. I love it.
The almond pizza. It's not very Italian. It's just
it's
newer.
not Italian. It's very different, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like there's the Albarari one I love.
Yeah. Well, Margeri, it's great to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for those who don't know Margeri, you've been part of our self-love brand, our shop just around the corner, and the online shop that we have. And you've been creating the kimonos right near the beginning.
Yes.
Because you're the kimono girl, and here's your cap for anybody.
Here's my cap.
There you go. She wanted to wear it because she was inspired by me wearing the cap, but it's quite low and it made you a little bit just
and you're not
darker there.
wearing a cap today. So
And I'm not.
We
I
can
just
match.
sometimes I feel like I've got to mix it up a little bit.
We have the same length hair, I feel.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That's probably what inspired you to cap. Well, you can wear hair like that.
Yeah,
That's kind of
exactly.
cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how you been? What's
Very
new?
good. I think right now in Dubai, it's so busy with business, actually. The pop-ups, it's the time. The weather is amazing.
Yeah.
Like when Europe is a little bit sleeping after the Christmas time, it's like really, I feel so much power here in Dubai. So
Okay.
busy with the work and everything else.
Oh, wow. Okay. Busy. What's the work when you're supporting the kimono?
Well, I do KimonoGirl, but I'm also on Web3, a little bit on the side.
Web3.
Yeah, Web3.
Okay.
As my husband, I just got married, by the way, a month ago, less than a month ago.
You know what? Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And also, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, as we all know. Marriage is work.
Well, I don't know it yet because I just got married. We're still in a very honeymoon period.
The upside of everything.
Yeah. I do feel energy has changed, though. Before your girlfriend and boyfriend, and yes, you live together, everything. But I think especially for man, like when you actually, for him at least, he got married and he's really, now I'm the man of the house. And I feel energy is different. Like he really takes the responsible seriously and I love it. I really can be in my feminine divine. Love it.
There is some truth to that. You don't know what's going to happen until it happens, right?
Yes.
Like the shift in consciousness because of, the things that you picked up along the way, conditionally, subconsciously.
Yeah.
What does marriage mean? And you don't really know until that day comes. Like when my wife and I got married, when I was there, everything just happened so fast.
That's true.
And I was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
And it wasn't many. I mean, it was me, my wife, our kids.
I know, I
and,
saw the pictures, very beautiful.
and my sister and her friend, and that was it.
Same. We had 8 people, very secret. Actually, people don't know it. This is the first time I'm announcing
That's
it.
one way to do it.
So let's see. But I saw your wedding pictures. It was so beautiful, honestly, on the beach. And, that's exactly like.
It was a trip. And what's really bizarre? When my wife and I, we actually met without knowing we met in 2016.
Oh, really?
She was and I was at something called Unleash the Power Within, UPW with Tony Robbins.
Yeah, of course. I know that.
And over 10,000 people. She was there with her husband, but soon to be ex. And I was there with my, I don't know what you'd call it, on-off girlfriend type thing.
Oh,
Hence
wow.
why I was probably at UPW. And I remember this visualization. I put it in the book because it's really, one of those profound moments, going through the meditation and Tony Robbins is guiding us. And I remember this sort of like this window like this showing up. And then there was me peering through it, but looking at me, looking back at the eyes, looking at myself. And I had the long hair and I was wearing white and there was like a beach.
Oh,
and
wow.
And then
I don't know that story. My God, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, when I've heard that you and Julia, you have a very different and special connection. Like, you know each other from different dimensions, right?
Yeah, something like that. Many a lifetimes we just
Yeah,
bumped into each
exactly.
other again. So, all okay? Okay. He's freaking me out a little bit. Like,
I know how you feel about it. We did once the same mistake.
Yeah, he's just, he takes his craft seriously, and I love that. So,
But I'm like, I'll have to hear about this story.
yeah,
I
so,
was like,
well,
"That's so
so
cool."
I'm looking for, peering through that window, seeing myself, and I look so peaceful and so happy and, so tranquil. And I was very far from it at the time. And then, a few years later, working on the cell, and there was, on like the wedding day, realizing that this is what I manifested. But it wasn't me looking at me, it was my wife looking at me. But I was looking through my wife's eyes at me.
Wow, I have goosebumps.
Because I couldn't know what she looked like. Oh, no, me too. Wait. So,
But it wasn't like you manifested it, you just knew it's going to happen. You saw the future, it was a destiny. You just aligned your energy with what you can see in the future, right?
Yeah, and you know what? It takes that, it's bravery, it's courage to even think that you can imagine yourself like that when you are the furthest place from it.
Yeah. And a lot of people say it's, this is my personal experience where I always thought, I deserve the best, I am the best. And people said, oh, you're so selfish, so ego. That's the ego talking. And because I felt like this, it was actually self-love. It's true, believing my value. I met the true love of my life, and my life has changed. And everyone now looking back, oh yeah, I wish I would also have the courage to dream like this, because a lot of people don't, because the society pushes us down at be happy what you have, be humble. But yeah, you have to be able to see it and dream it and know your value.
100%. Well, that depending on where you grew up, right, and the conditioning, the culture. In the West, there's a certain thing, especially in England, like you just don't go out there and say things like "I deserve the best" and things like that. But in America, it's that pick-up attitude, and absolutely like you're right on, brother. It's that kind of mentality, and neither are good and neither are bad. It's the yin and the yang. You can't have one without the other, and they all serve their purpose. And it's just depending on where you want to end up that aligns to you, right? And that's something, isn't it? What led you to get here to Dubai?
Well, physically talking, because of COVID, I got stuck here because I lived 11 years in London, climbing that corporate ladder. Like, even though I love London so much, this will always be one of my loves. But it was, difficult in terms of like you just grind, and on a weekend you party hard or travel, But it was you can't get out of it. Even it doesn't matter how many yoga classes you do, anyway. So I got stuck. Well, I manifested it and I asked for it. I want like a true like happiness and freedom, and I want to be in a place that like I don't chase money, or I'm not as good as my last month numbers, because I was in sales, right?
Oh, I've been there.
And then I came here for 7 days, literally, bag full of bikinis, that's it. And I got stuck here because Dubai was the only place that wasn't locked down. Europe was completely third deep lockdown. Everyone was depressed. And I said, okay, I'm not going to be paying my 2K hotel guarantee because it was mandatory. I'm not going to be, traveling several flights. I'm going to stay here. And my bosses that time said, sure, work from the laptop, which I did. 3 months from the beach club. Made the best sales month of my life, because that shows. You don't have to be in the office. Your energy has to be good. And then whilst I was here, I met my future husband, my current husband.
Yep.
Fall in love. And, and we did, he did a very beautiful workshop with me, spiritual workshop, where he literally was like, visualize yourself in 5 years.
Yeah, go on.
What was it before? And what needs to be done, and when you wouldn't change anything, would you be there? So it was a massive epiphany where I started crying, realizing I have to quit my job, which I did. We literally flew to London. I quit my job. I gave away everything I owned that I gathered in 11 years. My furniture, my clothes, my cutlery, you name it. I had 2 luggages, and that's it. Let's go now. And he quit his life in Switzerland. He was there, but not his job. So we literally flew here. And started our life here and never looked back. We fall in love on the first day we saw each other in the airport. We never actually separated after that.
That was in the airport.
Well, he came here to see me for a coffee, because he actually known me for over 10 years from a house party in London. But I didn't know him, but because of social media, I was able to see me and follow me. He doesn't like
I think I remember this one.
I think I told you,
Yeah,
yeah.
so go on. So he saw you 10 years ago in a
Actually,
house party.
13 now. He saw me
13.
13 years ago when I was a student in his house party in Mayfair. He was a banker then. He clearly saw me. He asked my name from his mutual friends, started following me on Facebook because Instagram wasn't available, like it wasn't existing yet. And then when Instagram came, you know, you get AI is like pushing you, do you want to follow? So he started following me. I never followed him back. He's private. I don't even know how this guy looks like. And then when I was stuck here in Dubai, when I felt like I was very good energy, like, you know, the sun, the beach, I felt the best in my life. I didn't need anyone. I didn't like I was so happy with my life. He messaged me in Instagram, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm like, excuse me, how do I know you? And he said, a long time from London. I was like, this is not satisfying answer. So I didn't reply for 6 weeks when I was ready to leave. And then I was like, you know, doing shisha and a little bit tipsy the last few days when my visa ran out. And he was like, finally, this woman replied. So he said, listen, I will fly there to have a coffee with you. Because he knew, and even now when he says to me, he says, you know, once you've been given opportunity, you have to seize the day. You know, like you can't miss it out, especially he had waited 10 years. He came, landed, and I was like the nice guy, a girl. I went to pick him up, and we literally never been separate since.
Wow, wow.
We moved in the same day.
Wow. Well, he knew.
He
and
knew.
you were like, you know, and, you know, doing your thing. But there was something about your energy shifted in Dubai.
Yeah, which
that
was...
you felt like,
allowed...
like you opened the space for something new to come in.
Exactly.
Because you're willing to let go of the old.
Yeah.
And then suddenly his energy was able to show up.
I think you have a similar story, right? When you met Julia, then you just stayed there. That's
Pretty
it.
much as a story, and I never left.
You never left.
You know what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
No, well, look, it's beautiful to hear a story like that because it shows his determination and commitment.
Yeah, and he brought me here. You know, that because of him, I'm here now. And, well, I quit my job, and then I wanted to empower women, initially women, and I didn't know how to do it. We came up with the concept, but he allowed me with, you know, he also helping me financially in the beginning to start something I would never even have the courage to start, you know. I would be like, no, I need my salary, you know. But he's like, listen, do this, go crazy, you know, I want you to be happy. And it did make me happy. So that's how it all started. And I'm very grateful for him, yeah.
Of course. Well, you know, you're giving him everything he's ever dreamed of, and he's doing the same for you. That's ultimately what we are calling for, right? In our other half, that, you know, we see them go, what is their dream and what are their needs, and how can I do everything I possibly can to meet their needs and dreams? However way it shows up, you know, there's certain resistance and things that come up, but that is ultimate love is, okay, can I give them the space for them to be who they truly are? And will they do the same for me?
Exactly.
And it's about figuring it out together. It's about knowing that, you know, this is not just a quick fling and, you know, somebody who's grown up in London, let's say those many years and the same, you can fall into that trap.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
Next, like revolving
and
door.
Let's be honest, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed dating. I enjoyed meeting new people. Like it was all an experience, you know. So let's be honest, I got so lucky with him. Like, thank God he came and took me. You know?
Take me away from this.
Like, save me from this mayhem.
But you know what? Well, look, you know, it obviously showed up at the time that you were ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, and vice versa, that he kept himself open like this. He obviously had a strong enough belief, and this is why it probably helped him to become as successful as he has been. You know, that sort of faith. You know?
But yeah, he did also, talking about spirituality, he did say that when he saw me already 13 years ago, even though I was so young, I think I was wearing like Primark, like heels and 5-pound dress, you know, like the worst you can think of, blue cheese. I think I remember.
But you made it look Gucci, right? That's what it sounds like.
No, I didn't. But he said to me that there was energy around me, which, you know, every girl wants to hear it, but he keeps talking about it. And even in our wedding vows, he was like, I visualized this princess coming from another planet and taking me. And he was like explaining it like it literally has happened. So he's a true believer that we know from another dimensions each other. And we both have come together so I can make him the king that he is, and vice versa, I'm the queen.
I get it. I completely, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
you.
And now this kimono girl has come out of it. So tell people what is the kimono girl? How did
Let's
that
talk
come about?
it. So KimonoGirl, like as I said initially, I wanted to empower women because in corporate London, women, if you're not loud enough or if you're not like, let me finish, in the boardroom, which I did, and I got a lot of shit for it, but I did it, so that I was heard. A lot of women can't do it. And I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I want to help them, even when it's just a secretary, not just a secretary, but even when it's like, that is not maybe the director or VP, there is so much like kind of energy that is being suppressed as a feminine. And instead of, doing the speeches and stuff like a lot of people do, I'm like, let's do completely something different. Let's do garments so that it's like a magic cape. It's basically when you put it on, then you feel like you have the cape, like a superwoman, And,
Okay.
and how
Activating your super
yes, exactly. That was the thought, and I actually experienced it. Like I used to have like high heels and pencil skirt, which I felt very empowered. But then when I was in my gardening leave and I was wearing a kimono, very casual, and it was blowing on the wind, and I was barefoot, I was like, wow, this is all I want. I feel so grounded. I feel now I'm worthy, right? And I wish I would feel that otherwise. And I'm like, I want to give that to other women. But how am I going to do it? I can't just give them a kimono. It doesn't work like this. So we came up with a proper concept. And now during the way through our journey, I've actually also have researches to prove it that it's actually working. So we're talking about high vibrational clothing and high frequency fabrics. And of course, how we start things is we do it here. We have a workshop here and also in India. And in India, we have this beautiful woman workshop owned by a family. And they love energy. They actually work also for bigger brands that you know of. But they were all about energy fashion. And before they start making our clothing, they give a prayer to their hands so that everyone has a good intention. Everything's 100% handmade. We're talking embroidery, everything. We also put mantras inside of the kimonos. Every mantra has a different meaning. That means different vibration. And then by the third step would be the sacred ceremony with the energy master, where we used high vibrational sounds like the Tibetan bells, sound bath, chants, and charge them up. And once you're ready to order it and you receive the kimono, it comes with a letter from the universe that then explains you how to activate your own kimono. So it will guide you and protect you whenever you wear it. So this is the concept, and we've used the best fabric you can think of. There is also research and studies about the frequencies of the fabric. Everything around us, everything's energy. Mm-hmm. And we always wear clothing. I was just today, before I came here, I was thinking, people rarely are naked, maybe shower, okay, maybe you sleep naked, but even then you have sheets around you, right? So clothing is so important to have a high vibrational, because the clothing can either heal you or harm you. It can literally harm you if you're wearing a low vibrational clothing.
Is this kimono?
This is also mine, yeah.
Ah, very cool.
This is actually honeycomb. It was inspired by ayahuasca when I did this retreat, and then I was like...
it's a trip.
It was
cool.
trippy, but it's like honeycomb.
Yeah.
You see a honeycomb everywhere.
Yeah. What? Have you been to our home? My wife has designed the floor, the hexagon.
But I haven't seen this one, but I've seen the earth element.
Okay.
But yeah, this is honeycomb, the vibrational kimono.
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. I mean, this is self-love.
I noticed.
I brought this on because I haven't actually worn our self-love brand shirts. I've been wearing everybody else's.
This is very cool.
I thought, you're going to wear yours. I need to wear mine.
Of course.
Let's raise the vibration of this podcast.
And
take
you
it to the next
opal
level.
Here, right?
Yes.
It's a dragon stone. It's very strong.
Yeah?
Yeah. It also gives you the quick connection to the other universe, alignment. This is a very strong stone.
That, to my family, would explain a lot. That's why he's special. Okay, that is beautiful. So anybody listening there, you have something in there that just raises your frequency. When you say the best fact, what's the fabric? Do you know what a fabric is that you're
Yes.
using?
Well, there is actually a study been done by Haiti 20 years ago, where he used the proper machinery to measure frequencies, because you can actually do it with anything. You can put on a plant, and you can listen to the plant music, right? But they did the same with fabric. I don't know how accurate it is now, but the finding was interesting because it was the human body. If you're very healthy and strong, it's 100 hertz, right? A vibration, 100.
Yeah.
And dead body is 15, which is very low, right?
A dead body.
Dead body, yeah, 15.
Well, it's still going.
No, it's still. So basically, polyester and rayon, they are 15. So this is literally, that means when you're wearing polyester or rayon, your
Primark.
body is literally suffering. But a lot of things, like if you think about that, or sportswear, or like, I don't know, like actually I'm sure we all have, I do. I have like, like cool shirts and stuff, but it happens to be like, polyester. Zara is full of it. Like all of this, like it's full of there. And then when you learn about it, oh my God, these are vibrating like a dead person body. Wow. And I wear it, it's like suffering because, we're all atoms, it's molecules. But the cotton, for example, is 100, it's good. Linen is a very super... Linen is a superpower fabric, and that's why I think people also sleep with linen sheets. It's 5,000. It's 5,000. Silk. The study showed it's lower than 100, but I say no because we use a lot of silk, and we done our own research, conducted our own research, where literally when you go back to the ancient times, they use silks to heal wounds. So if you have wound here and you put silk on top of it, it heals 7 days faster than anything else. 7 days is a long time. They use it in hospitals. And also, they protect your natural biofield. They also protect you from negative energy. It's proven. Again, with vibrations, they have so much positive frequencies, like positive properties, healing properties, silk. So we swear by silk. Silk, of course, is also very luxurious. It's expensive. It's beautifully breathable. It's cooling factor, especially in warm countries. So we use silk and linen, the 5,000, and then organic cotton. The water kimono. I think you got the water kimono, no? Julia got a water kimono.
I believe so.
So this is silk and cotton. It's shobori tie, so you can reverse it.
Okay.
But yeah, we really focus on it. We never do anything that is, and we're also sustainable. We're very cautious about using all the packaging, all the fabrics, how it's been made ethically.
Well, this is why you align with self-love. I mean, this is why we work with you, because the mentality and the love and the effort you put in is what separates you from everybody else, in the field. And this is what, like attracts like, self-love, and it's growing our brand, and it's bringing people like
For
you
sure.
in that we can sort of collaborate. And now we're doing a podcast where we can talk about
Even
it.
the way we met, it was like so crazy. Like it was just so. So yeah, we're in the same frequency for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see that. And you look, I mean, you were in London, and as you said, we were talking before, in the club days, similar clubs, seeing each other in the field. And even Harvey, I had on the podcast, that
So
him
funny.
from London. And
But I've seen him several times here. We speak.
Yeah. Cool guy, very cool guy, and just
Yeah.
very chilled. But what's beautiful is, I mean, when you share your love, this is what I love about doing this podcast in New Earth, because everybody has something that, there's a reason why you're here, and it's to spread this information that most people wouldn't even think twice about fabrics. You just buy what it is in the shop, you just wear it,
Exactly.
and then you think nothing of it. But then there's people like you go, well, actually it's been shown that there's a frequency to certain fabrics that give it off. And if you wear something like polyester, it ultimately suppresses your energy, because
Not
it's aligned
ultimately,
at the frequency of a
yeah.
dead person. So there you are, going
Crazy.
out there wanting to date or wanting to earn money, and you're wearing something polyester. You're suppressing your power, and ultimately if you're knocking off, say, 75% of your energy or 85% of your energy, that means only so much of you is able to show up to attract the person you would like to attract, to earn what you would like to earn. So ultimately, give yourself the best opportunity you can. That's why when I used to get the suits back in London, you know, and I put the suit on when I used to be a speaker. I didn't say used to be a speaker. I speaking right now, but I'm not wearing a suit. But I'd get a power suit and be like, put it on, and you're like, boom.
That's energy fashion.
And it's an energy. You come on, you're like, right, you know, Hugo Boss, you know, that kind of thing. At that time, that's where I was in my level of consciousness. But it served, you know, it was an expensive suit, and for me, it was like, whoa, that's an investment. But when you put it on, that return on investment is like 10 to 100 times.
Absolutely.
So those people, I mean, if people are listening go, but I can't spend that money, I need the polyester. Go, well, yes and no. You know, if you save and put something away and you see something that you like, say a kimono, you know, you put it away and it's going to take you a year, let's say, or something in our self-love store like this shirt, it may be that one thing you buy once, but it will last.
Absolutely.
And it will pay you back dividends, because when you start to invest in yourself in said products that serve a purpose and have an energy, you're putting out to the universe going, well, I deserve this. I am worthy. You know, this is self-love. And by putting that on my skin, I appreciate myself. Then I'm what, you know, the pharaohs and those, you know, kings used to wear this kind of material. Well, I am also, you know, you align to that energy, because this information is passed on. And you know what? Just something that's come to me, because I've been saying this in every podcast, in our genome, we have information that's been stored over 4 billion years.
Yes.
Passed on from prehistoric animals that not even human, but it's in our genome because of information. So let's say that certain cells suddenly feel a certain fabric. It may go to a time when it was that king, was that pharaoh who used to wear those fabrics, you know, like it remembers what it's like, and suddenly you walk in this new stride because you're activating a part of your cellular genetics that aligns. That's why we feel powerful, why we put certain things on.
Yes.
Why is that? Because in the collective consciousness within ourselves is activated. So when you put that on, you're activating something within yourself that you can't even see, but you can't even explain it, but there's something there.
It's the biofield,
energetically.
yeah. And that's what I call life hack. You know, lots of people have life hacks. I'm like, for me, the biggest life hack is wear the high vibrational fabrics. Sleep with high vibrational fabrics, like linen sheet, everything. And I've tried it out, even or reviews is incredible how people, you know, meeting love of their lives or getting a promotion by wearing this, you know, kimonos. And of course we have sets as well. We have actually, now it reminds me, we have a suit kimono. So we now, instead of wearing a suit, you can wear a cool kimono, you know, like the billionaires look like.
Yeah. You know, I've got this kind of, I'm a bit anxious to wear this outfit. I've got like this kind of, people are going to think I'm walking in like Jesus when I wear this thing, but I'm going to wear it one day. I'm telling you, I'm going to have the bravery to do it. So you got kimonos that look like for men, the suit?
Yeah. Well, it's like a kimono, but
Yeah.
it's like also the fitted pants. So it's this, I can show you later.
I might have to have a look at this. And
It wasn't meant to be, but because we had the person who did it was actually also a tailor, you know, and it ended up being, and it's super cool. It's like
right. I wouldn't mind giving this a go. I'll
I'll
wear it
show
on the
you a
podcast
picture.
for you, no problem
But
at
you
all.
know what? I just had a very successful pop-up. We sold out all the kimono sets. Yeah, just literally 2 days ago.
Wow.
And man, we're buying the pants, which this was a massive discovery. All the L's and M's are gone. I have to make new.
That's so cool.
That is cool. Yeah, I just
Wow.
have the top now, the kimono
Okay.
top. But yeah, this is definitely a life hack, and everything you said, as it's investment and it gives you the power. You know, you put it on. It doesn't have to be kimono, right? We're doing the concept. It can be like the suit, or it can be beautiful dress, you know, and you put it on and you feel like, okay, I am worthy. Let me speak today, or like, I'm going to go and flirt with this guy. You know, you have the feeling I can do it, and you put yourself forward, and your life quality will change.
Well, that's what it's about, because you've experienced it. I mean, you sensed it. This is something that you've put your heart and soul into. And now, you know, you're evolving the brand, because you're suddenly seeing these shorts, and I'm sure there's people out there who don't really want to wear suits anymore, but they want to feel that sort of powerful stride in what it is they're doing. And, you know, these are some of the ideas that we're thinking within self-love as well, and working with you. You know, it's what is it that we're evolving towards, you know, away from the suits, especially somewhere like Dubai where it's so warm. And everyone's wearing suits, but this feels like there's an evolution going on here.
Yeah, there is, and I still think people are too scared to wear cool new stuff. Otherwise, you're a hippie, or you rock up with the Ferrari and you wear these things. Then you're like, then
What
suddenly
is going on?
but suddenly it's like a cool, popular. But then they're like, oh, but I still I couldn't pull it off. So we're still evolving. I'm completely agreeing with you. So my partner, my husband, he says you need to be the place that makes kimonos popular, modern, cool. Because right now it's like a festival vibe, or you throw it on when you're potentially doesn't want to show your bum or something. But actually it could become complete mainstream,
Why not?
like for people to heal. Like yoga used to be completely cult thing, 20 years ago, maybe even more. If nobody will no, I'm not going yoga when it came from East. Now it's like, if you don't go for 1 week, oh my God, I'm not balanced,
It's true. It's like brushing your teeth. Like if you don't do it, because it's, it's funny we go into that because I look at health. I used to go to the gym and all these things, and people might look at me now going, "Really?" But it's like
No,
because
it's not
because it's not
really.
like that because I'm not as big as I used to be. But I used to be that gym guy and hitting the metal and all that sort of stuff. And then I realized what's more important was my spine health and how I actually felt, and not having to feel like I had to go somewhere. Like, why should I have to do anything? Anytime the should comes in, it's an external force from outside ourselves that's telling us that we need to do something. And a little voice in our head pops up. And then really about, just like 8 months ago, when suddenly letting go of that idea of vanity, for the idea of I need to look a certain way. And me and my wife did a lot of healing through this work when we were away in the last summer. And I could let go of that burden. And I just said, I just want to feel good. I want to feel have energy. I just want to live my life in a way I want to. Like, I'm looking forward to every moment. Not, I've got to do this for an hour. So incorporating health, and then adding yoga, and then we started having a teacher. And then I didn't need the teacher. I could just add it to my morning routine.
Oh, yeah.
And I do the morning, and then I have a pull-up bar, pull up, and then push-ups, and some few squats, and lunges, my body weight. Now, everything's slimmed down, admittedly, but it's not like I need to be heavy, because then I thought, well, we're on planet Earth. There's gravity. Let's work with physics and gravity. I'm actually reading about Isaac Newton at the moment, but it's about sort of being aware of where it is. I don't want to feel heavy on Earth when there's gravity already pulling us down. There's that feeling of being light, where you can move around, and it is that.
Right?
The heart is the same size for everybody. It's pumping blood around. There's less emotional, because my wife and I dealt with a lot of emotional stuff as well. That's lurking, as it always is, in the back.
I think everyone has, but they don't just know it,
Well, it's scary to confront
If you
it.
start opening it, then you're like, "Oof, what's
Well,
coming?"
you just don't know. And I remember touching it when I first became an actor. I was afraid to actually.
What, you were
show
actor
up
as well?
Yeah, I was. And,
Oh my God.
that was when I left the recruitment business in about 26, 27.
You've done everything.
I've lived in many shoes, and I think that's my thing. I've had many perspectives. I've been a villain. I've been a hero. I've been a schizophrenic. I've been, I played these parts, and I've kind of been those parts. So then, and now there's a place of going, well, there's nothing to judge, because every trait, and I've portrayed a lot of them. Actually, we've all done all of them pretty much. There's nothing to judge. It's whatever's in the other person is in us. And if we're not liking what's in the other person,
It's a mirror.
Yeah, it's a mirror. And so anything you may not like about your new husband, and vice versa, it's just a disowned part of ourselves we have yet to love.
Exactly.
And that is why we're in these relationships.
And I don't want to accept it, because I'm like, it cannot be. When I look at my siblings and stuff, I'm like, something irritates me, and I have to think about it. No, but it's mirroring. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, I'm not owning that one. That one I'm not owning.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I get it. With siblings, they're the best teachers, because they're never going to, get rid of the
And
never
I live
generalization.
With one, it's on our floor.
Yeah.
And I love him so much. But, it's still a sibling. You fight like your kids.
Yeah, of course, because that, when you're stressed, that's when our cells regress, and we go back to that period, of fighting. But they're also there to balance us out. They're not going to be usually the same as us. They're going to show parts of ourselves that, we have maybe yet to love, and vice versa. Or I'm into growth and personal development, and my family, I say my family, like my siblings, my family, are kind of resistant to that, and they will hold their ground. And you know, we could get into arguments because they will challenge me in certain things, which I actually appreciate, because it's when we challenge, that's how we grow. If they supported me, that's how we digress, because we go into something called entropy. Because too much support, we become dependent, right? So it's that beautiful balance in your family. So everybody's there to serve a role.
Exactly.
It's all just beautiful.
That's what my husband says as well. Everyone serves their role, sometimes the villain, but they're like, and you chose them, right? So.
No, that's exactly. We've chosen here. I mean, nothing is out of sync. It's just a matter of perspective. And sometimes we are challenged, and we think to ourselves, is it though? Really? This doesn't feel right. But when we reflect on it, we go, okay, what are they showing me? What is it about me that I need to love? And it's funny because, I mean, like, I'm 40 and I'm still like, there's certain aspects, with my siblings, I look at it and go, certain parts I still need to own. And there are parts of me that I need to embrace a certain area still, And it's just like, okay, we will do. Right now,
acceptance,
there's this and this and this, but it's accepting more and more and more, and it has less charge, which means it has less hold over me.
That's the power.
Absolutely. And that's why we, these clothes and this fabrics and everything else is to give you that power, so you can face these challenges.
It's we extended the tool for mindfulness and healing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just fashion and like a new angle of fashion, but it's mainly the tool for mindfulness. That's the point. Even though, it's so hard to get this message through. Like, I've been now in business over 2 years, crazily to think how long. But, nobody is typing in high frequency clothing. Nobody's messaging energy fashion. So I was like, oh, I'm the first one, so cool. No, it's not cool. It's like, I wish I would have competition. I wish people know about it, because then it's like, okay, shall I just sell kimonos then, like to continue like the longevity and, or should I stay true to my message? And the answer is to stay true, because now every time I talk, and as I said, we had a 4-day like pop-up in Alcelker Avenue. And when I told people about it, their eyes go like wow, sparkle, like, oh my God, I need it, like I've never heard of it. And then I get this power again, like, yes, I have to continue. Even though, it might be slower than maybe some like, cheaper kimonos next to me, which was a lot of them, like, especially local sabayas and stuff. But you have to remember, with anything, you're different, you're special, you're unique, and just, keep going.
Well, this is how it is. I mean, people I'm sure watching are going, keep going. I'm now interested myself, and they're hearing this for the first time. Like, energy, frequency, 100%. Well, this is like the new Earth thinking. It's the old Earth where we're used to doing what we're doing, and now we're stepping into our higher selves, and it feels alien, because ultimately a little bit is, because anybody hears what we're saying. Those who are very ingrained into the old Earth will be like, okay, then,
Yeah.
And it feels scary, because you feel like you're an outsider. You feel alone when you're out there doing it, because you're setting up ultimately a new industry, innovating something brand new. And, I was saying before, on another podcast, my father did the same. Set up 2 different industries that didn't exist.
What was it?
Music television.
Okay.
So he produced the first music video on TV. The video killed the radio star.
Really? I know that.
Of course. And then
oh my goodness.
And so he produced the videos and things like that, and Bohemian Rhapsody and things like that. So he did his thing. And he's just like that, whatever.
So you come from this kind of vibes.
Yeah, exactly. The rock and roll kind of style.
Okay, that explains a lot.
There you go. And it's good to bring people some context here.
Yeah.
And, when you're a child with a sort of rock and roll father in that kind of regard, who it seemed it was very much about him, and he didn't particularly want children. It was more my mother wanted children. Then she left the earth in the physical form when we were young. So then we had our challenges, and then it, cultivated. Then he created an agency for presenters on TV. He's actually on that Netflix series, Who Killed Joe Dando?
Okay,
He was her agent.
Yeah.
He was her agent.
Oh wow! I started watching it, but then I don't know why I
Yeah.
didn't finish. But I
Well,
know
you'll
it.
see him when you see his name, John Roseman. Then you'll see that
Of
he's a
course.
character.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, and he's so for us growing up. If I didn't get past my victim mindset and that poor me and everything else, then I'd still be there. But rather and pulling myself out of the idea, I could be saying, well, I'll always be in his shadow, right? But thankfully, in a weird, strange way, he didn't manage his business very well, and it kind of went, you know, down the toilet. And
He was
so,
more creative,
yeah,
no?
exactly. And money, it's just, that was his style. A certain sort of consciousness he came in with. He immediate gratification through his sort of genius, let's say, that came through him. And it could be said that oh no, we want. If he left us the money, it would be better. No, because then we would have been independent and we could have been really
Exactly.
messed up. So by not having it and getting out from underneath him means that, you know what's possible? We can create a new reality. Why not the new Earth?
Yeah, I
Because
love it.
it's
Yeah.
been in my consciousness since I was a
Edgar
child.
Tolle talks about the new earth, right? I really like him. His book was my Bible completely. Like, what was it? Present? What was the name? Oh my God. The Edgar Tolle main book.
A Power of Now.
Yeah, Power of Now.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
Start with Why. I have always been.
That's for Simon Sinek.
Yeah, yeah. These are my two. Yes, Power of Now. My God, I was. This book came to me magically, and I was. I don't really have panic attacks, but that was one time I just had a massive breakup, and I'm like, literally, the book was always in my bag, never to touched it, and then I was about to have a panic attack in the train on my way to London, and I opened it up in a random place. I'm like, and I start reading, and I was like this epiphany. I calmed down, I smiled, and after that, I've been reading this book, even though I couldn't remember the title apparently, but
It's about the message, right?
it's
What
the
it gave you
message.
then.
And it was literally Power of Now, because if you're in the present, then you can't cry after the past and you can't be anxious about the future. So you can't help anything. And I was like, I'm safe. I'm in this train. I'm going home. I have my own home. I'm healthy. And I was like so grateful. From complete like sadness, I became the most grateful. And after reading this book, my life changed as well. Like, I did a massive leap. I got a better job. I got a better boyfriend. It was insane. And ever since I've lived my life like this. So
That's beautiful. Power of Now I remember it was a similar time for me as well. Some struggles around
Yeah.
then becoming aware of this little voice in my head.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't get rid of that little voice in my
Constantly.
head. But it just showed you, like, wow, it's been so loud, and I just become
Yeah.
aware of that. It was a voice in my head that was so loud. How did I not recognize this voice in my
Yeah.
head?
And I still forget. Like, I have still days I'm like, oh, this is the end of the world. Like, I feel so shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, we haven't like learned at all. And then you have to remind yourself. You're like, okay, you're fine. But he talks about the new earth, and that's why the name, what you guys have done, is like so beautiful. It's like, portal.
Yeah, you know what? It's because it's mentioned, in biblical text. I didn't know this until later because I didn't, go down that road because we grew up very skeptical, and religion was, for crazy people is how we grew up. And so, but only recently I started reading the books, and funny enough, the new earth comes up, in the Bible, and mischief comes up as well.
Oh, wow. That's
And I was
the name.
like,
Yeah.
and a little similar, and like mischief over many times in Quran and Bible. And if you're mischievous, obviously that is, you're going to hell or you're in hell. And I was like, well, kind of was when we were running those clubs. We were doing everything
That's what I always
mischievously.
sometimes think, like, the clubs, like, everything is dark, and then
It is like that, and it is these kind of soul, like, there is a part of that because it's like lost people, and they're looking to.
And I always like, they can, like, if you're with the wrong people, they suck your energy, And after that, I always had like nightmares and stuff and seeing things, but that's different. But about the biblical stuff and Torah, like, also the vibrational clothing are mentioned in them both, which is insane. That means that all times already they knew about the power of fabric, and it's in Torah and it's in Bible. It's insane.
And it's like, ancient civilizations before, and the Egyptians. And, you mentioned before about the fact you had the words, the affirmations.
Mantras, yeah.
And the mantras. Because when we were in Egypt, we saw a particular area of Egypt, and we saw this, was it Lost City? And they had these affirmations on the side of the wall where the water would flow over it to charge the water. And I was like, okay, note for self.
Exactly right.
And we came, and I said to the cafe, guys, let's put affirmations
I think I've
on the
seen-
coffee machine. Let's put it on the
yeah.
Kangen machine, so our New Earth water is charged up, not just with the machine and
Yes.
crystals, but also with the words that we have.
Exactly.
So it's on the juice, it's on the... so it's like, you know, they knew what they're doing. I may
Even
not
the
be
logo, you know, even the logo, I think when you put it on here, or like if you write things, you know, there is also, it's very, I love that idea that you do that, because I believe in that. And there is also this documentary, Voda, from Russian creator, and he literally says, like, write on top of you or on the water, like, I am healthy, I am healing. And they did the test. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, the Japanese.
It was also the Japanese where they put the water glass in front of the class, you know, and they said, like, say the worst words you can think of, and they were like screaming, yelling at the glass, you know, at the water glass, and they froze this. And then they took another glass and they said the nicest things, I love you, you're the most precious, and also froze that. And then when they looked at them differently, separately, under the microscope, it was so crazy. That one was so beautiful crystals, you know, like the most beautiful patterns, and the other one was like almost like molded splots. So, and we are 80 or I don't know how many percentage water.
Yeah, over
cells.
70, like 75%, let's say.
Insane. And that's why they like, if you write on top of yourself, like, I am love, put hearts, you know, or on top of your water, like I do it for my 2-liter bottle of water. You know, I talk, I kiss, I'm like, if I want to lose weight, not anymore, but I'm like, oh, I'm so healthy. I'm healthy, I'm skinny. I'm like, and you drink in the magic. So
You're
I
becoming
love that.
conscious, you're becoming aware. I mean, people might say that's crazy and this is whatever else, but like, I recently read a book on electromagnetic fields, and it's with Maxwell and his Faraday characters who they had this idea that there was fields that we couldn't see, but it would help with regards to communication and, you know, traveling through the air. But back then they were like, you know, what are you talking about in the 1800s, right? So they kind of like, he had to kind of bury the theory, and then later people resurrected it, and it's become, you know, what we use in everything we do. Because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like, well, why not? It seems to make sense, common sense, even if it's hard to prove it. And now we can actually prove it.
Scientifically, you can. That's why I always says people that are non-believers, I can prove you scientifically energy exists. And then also, if you, with people that don't believe in energy, I'm like, why are you then suspicious when somebody walks in and you don't feel well? You know, like, why are you like, this person doesn't make me feel good? This is energy. If you don't believe it, you should ignore the feeling, you know? But they don't. So they actually are almost hypocrites a little bit, because they live their life after energy, even when it's small things, but they say it doesn't exist, right?
Well, if you become aware of it and then it's into your consciousness and you actually accept it, then you have to take responsibility for it.
Then you have to
And a
follow
lot of people, I feel, just do not want to take responsibility for
That's
their
so
life.
true.
And
That's
they
so
can
true.
give up, you know, that, and then they can blame
it's
and then say
easier.
it's easier, but then it's actually harder.
Yeah.
It's actually, I've been there.
You're going to suffer later.
I've been there. It's like you get instant gratification. You live in your lower values, or what was defined as the id in Greek text, which basically means idiot. You become you're just an idiot, not in a judgmental way. I've been an idiot. Or when you become aware of it and you take responsibility for your life, then you step into your higher self, and then you actually start to live by your higher values.
Yeah.
And then there's no more blame. There's just responsibility. And yes, it's harder initially at the beginning, like anything that's new. You know, when you start going to the gym or even corporate. But then once you make it a habit, you suddenly look at your life and go, whoa, my life has transformed. I mean, things have just gotten so much better. Yes, I'm still met with challenges.
Yeah.
You know, there's still problems, but they're better quality problems and
Totally.
better quality challenges. And I'm getting better quality support as well.
Yeah.
Because when you're living from that place, you're not a victim.
Yeah.
You're not a victim to your history. You're a master of your destiny, you know? And it's
That's nice.
that feeling. Dr. John DiMartini, I can't take credit for that
I thought
one.
it was you.
I know, just right on the bat. Alex, just don't say who it is, all right? He's probably not watching. No, I'm a guy that, you know, somebody said it and I heard it, I have to. I just have to give him credit.
That's the energy we talk
Yeah,
about.
because it's like it passes on. You know, these are all giants and we stand on the shoulders of giants. Even Einstein stood on Maxwell's shoulders, regards to electromagnetic fields. So here we are not being able to see it, and people, because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And also, because we're mainly water, that's permeating through our body, and that's in our brain and everything else, and our thoughts and what we say do affect water. And then obviously our thoughts and what we say to ourselves and to others, which is to ourselves anyway, is going to affect us. And it obviously would stand to show that, regards to epigenetics, that we are shifting our cells. And if we think a certain way and talk a certain way, because the commonality is that those who suffer from cancer use a language of all or nothing. So it's like, that's always the case, never, and it's a generalization. So they had this, and it builds up because a disease is a feedback mechanism to bring us back into equilibrium, back into love. So of course it makes sense. And the medical industry has been set up in such a way of kind of not wanting you to know that, because that means you're empowered, which means that you actually have full autonomy over yourself, which means that the whole system, I mean, what are we talking about here? The society, the percentage that's actually incorporated into the healthcare is huge. Like, what would happen to that chunk if everybody realized that, oh, it's within myself? Your society would shift in such a way that, they wouldn't know what to do with it. And you know what? No organization will ever give itself a reason to bring itself into annihilation. It will never annihilate itself, never give itself a reason to not exist. Cancer research and things like that are not really looking for the cure, because then they wouldn't exist anymore. You see what I mean?
Exactly. No, I believe that completely. That I'm trying to listen my body, eat the right food. But funny enough, like, I feel there is still, everyone, so much toxins, we can't drink tap water and so on. So even with your best intentions, there is like so much pollution coming from outside, but you try your best.
Well, you know what you do, and this is why certain foods to eat, like berries, antioxidants, because you're dealing with this stuff. And we've got this new radiation device thing that suppresses radiation to do with technology.
So cool.
So we're doing a talk on Thursday, but I don't think this is going to go out in time, but this Thursday. But if you're interested in that device thingamajig, reach out to us.
So what is it?
Come this Thursday.
Okay.
Same guys who made the Kangen machine.
Okay.
Nick, that guy, I think you might have seen the long hair.
So what does it take away?
You'll see the device. It's insane. So when they put it up to the phones and things like this, you'll see it goes up to like 2,000. So all this radiation, you can't see it.
I'm trying to use stones and stuff, to take it away, but I don't know if it really works.
Well, you'll see this machine. Come on Thursday. When you push the button, it turns on, the numbers from 2,000 go to 0.
Oh, wow.
So it suppresses the waves of radiation.
Yeah.
So it's not in your field anymore. And ultimately, what this does is, helps with your aging, because it's talking about frequencies, we're talking about everything else.
The cleaning.
So we're doing our best to actually understand that there is all this stuff going on, and we can actually, better equip ourselves. And this is why we're sharing it here. Mm-hmm. Let the community know there's a new technology here, because technology is fantastic. Positives, but there's also negatives. And here's another device. Positive is it suppresses radiation. Negative is it does cost a bit of money. It's a bit of investment. But it's a bit of a pain somewhere, but it depends what you value. Do I value money more than my health?
It is expensive to try to clean yourself and keep everything. We have the filter systems, all of these things, which will be so much easier not to have them, right? But it's like we have to choose what's more important.
Exactly, and it's an involvement. If you're in a position where you're blessed enough that you can afford these things and go, well, if I can, and this is my thing, then sure, I will. And then it's values, right? If I'm not valuing, say, health, then... or whatever it is, or I value money too much. Okay, how do I shift my values? How do I link it, like money to my health? How do I see that my health can actually help me earn more money? And I value money so much, well, if my health, I feel better, then I'm going to earn more. So then you start to reshift things within your brain, and then you can actually incorporate everything.
Exactly. Like when I was in London, I didn't even have time to look at it. I was just like running around, which I think a lot of people do. But now when you have space, you're like, wow. But that gets me so excited as well, like to have this knowledge, to have these tools. Life is so much more powerful, like so much things you can do, you can have like this now, and people around you. I can see, I'm meeting so much like-minded people that I never met before. And people that have the same day birthdays, or very weird stuff that I'm like, how did we ever met, because... and so on. There is so many examples, and I never had this before, because I think I lived my life in a wrong energy, in a wrong frequency. And once we know that, which I challenge everyone or encourage everyone to do, put some effort and time and means to it, the life will be better by default.
Well, your energy where you were before, because if you're looking at wrong, then you also have to have right, right? You can't have one without the other. So you were where you were meant to be.
Absolutely, and I loved it. I mean, like, don't get
And
me
you
wrong.
enjoyed it, right?
I had no problem of like going back to London, having my life, everything I've done in my life, I enjoyed. I do make an experience. But I'm just thinking, like, it's even better now. That's my mantra as well. What can get even better?
Yeah, how can it get
How
even
can it
better?
get
My wife
better?
says the same thing.
Oh,
She
it's
reminds
funny,
me.
yeah. My mom says that.
Really?
That's why I say,
She say, how can it get better? Okay, yes. How can it get even better?
because
You're like,
sometimes
wow,
I'm like,
how?
like we are buying a car now, and then my dream car was bought in front of us. I was like, oh my God, nothing can get better, And then I kept saying, what can get even better? Maybe it wasn't meant. And then another car game, which I loved even more, and more suitable to my color, even better color. But you don't see it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But you have to do the mantra because it's correct. What can get even better? This car was not meant for me. When you lose a person or get fired on a job. It's not meant to. Yeah, you can have a little cry. That's fine. You're human. But always continue believing. Even say the mantra. Say it. What can get even better? And then the energy shifts. Because in the beginning you don't believe it. You have to just repeat.
Well, you have to override all that conditioning,
Yeah,
that negative self-talk that we've
Gratitude,
collected for
yeah.
forever. Are you okay? Are you too cold or anything?
No, I'm completely
You sure?
fine.
I'm just seeing this blowing, the light is blowing like a flower in the wind. Maybe I'll just turn it off for a moment.
Can you do a video of us when we talk? For my socials. I'm going to create some TikTok later.
Of course. Well, we'll give you all of this as well. And we're going to make some really awesome clips.
But I'm having such a good conversation with you. It's not like a podcast, It's just like...
I know, like you're having a coffee.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
It's like having a coffee, but with purpose. Because sometimes, so much amazing things come out of a conversation, especially like the vibe, not only of the cafe, which, blessed beyond belief,
It's very good, yeah.
but to be in Albarari, and the type of people who have made their journey here, because there's this sort of international vibe, and because Dubai is so kind of fresh and we're all international, nobody's sort of... It's not like anywhere else where everyone's settled and have their own cliques,
Yeah.
Everybody's sort of looking out for one another for a degree.
We completely accidentally got here, which is another energy. We were on the airport, flying here first time, together, because I had to leave the country for my visa and then come back. And we were literally in the airport and checking places, and that was the only place that didn't look like a hotel. And we're like, let's go. We paid for a whole year without even seeing this place. And when I arrived here, I'm like, oh my God, where are we going? Because you're coming from downtown, and it's just a desert at one point. But then you come here and then you see, oh my God, it's like a gold mine of people and the oasis here. And it's like, I call it like the Richmond of London.
I never thought about that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And yes, you're right. As you said, that it's like, to say like-minded people are here. Like we just happen to be here. It's very European as well, and it's very cool.
I mean, look, you're here with KimonoGirl, innovating something new. And thanks, my man. He's just doing everything at the moment. It's like the octopus with multiple arms.
Yeah.
So here you are talking about something about, your frequency, high frequency clothing, right? And nobody else is putting it out there. While you're sitting on a podcast about the new earth that nobody's ever really done yet. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
that we're
exactly.
sitting here doing this while... I get it in UK, and especially in London when I was there myself, I was waiting to live, There was this sort of energy of like this suppressing energy.
Yeah, but it also keeps you there. It's like, oh.
It does, because there's so much there.
It's so much
you can
happening.
Be distracted.
Yeah, so distracted.
It's so distracting.
It's
and
always
even
carrot here and carrot there, and you have everything, In theory, you have everything you need, right? So that's why it's like, but then you have something like, would be nice to go. And once you're here, like, oh, this is great. And the people help so much.
Well, you know what? Because there's something about when you're in a place like that, and it's beautiful in its own way. And London's cool. It's like my home. It's, of course, my heart's there as well. But when there's that many people and there's that sort of collective consciousness of survival, there's a survival, and environments is what dictates sort of the genome, where certain cells are activated. So we're in that environment, and people are sort of surviving. You have a sense of surviving mentality, not the thriving mentality that we're all looking to evolve from. And New Earth is ultimately that place where you go from the amygdala, which is the seat of the idiot, because we're reactive and compulsive and we're living by our lower values and we're just, complaining, and it's just, we're not governing our own life. We're being governed by our, amygdala and the cells that are operating from that environment that, suppress us, and we're not really our full selves, So when you step out of that environment, like when I went to Cyprus initially and then I met my wife to be, and then we moved to Dubai, there was something about letting that go and just sort of like, whoa, like coming out of this sort of hypnotic state, because I didn't have control over myself.
That's
it was
so true.
The environment was stronger than
it was so
my
yeah,
willpower.
Instead of like thriving, you survive, and the competition there is crazy, and you become like, of course I was in all like financial sales. There was so much jealousy and everyone just stabbing each other in the back, even though you don't. And I'm very like, I started off very naive because I'm a nice person. I want to help everyone, but this didn't pay off. I got so much. I have such a horrible stories about, especially from women, which is funny. Like women really are like, there for having their space. But I also understand why, because you have to earn your space and you have to make sure that nobody's taking it, because London is full of driven people.
You have your territory.
And they come from different backgrounds. So some don't come from families that say, no, be nice to everyone. They don't think twice. So you end up also being aggressive. And then you're like, and then it's like all this distraction and you become like a different person you want to be. And then you're right. Once I stepped out of it, even when I got stuck here in Dubai, energy was immediately changed. And people they thought poorly about Dubai, I think, previously. But now Dubai is completely like, I think, the place to be.
Oh, it's opening up completely, right?
I think already we were in the right time, right place. With all the real estate and stuff now going crazy, I think we really did well,
We're absolutely blessed. And I think a little friend is flying around this sort of
loves
spying
energy
on us. But you know what? It's like, get out. It's like, what are you trying to distract us from? Are we saying something we're not supposed to be saying?
It's like
what
a
is
little
it?
spy camera.
100%. When I look back at London and who I kind of was then, I thought, my goodness, I was definitely in my amygdala and acting out the idiot. But at the same time, like we talk about the territory and people coming in and challenging us, that's what led us to jump out of our fantasy and let us to actually become independent and grow enough to actually go like, it's like the crabs in a bucket and they're like pulling each other down. There's like that sense of like, you're trying to get out. And then you get out of it and you're like, whoa, there's something more than the bucket of, pulling and grabbing and and once you pull yourself out there, you just think to yourself like the days of getting on a tube and, going to work.
It's absolutely. Now I would be, but I loved everything. Like, I was just so, but I was very lucky as well. Don't get me wrong. Like, I had a great job, great salary. When I look at now other people who are struggling to even pay the rent,
Yeah, well, things have shifted.
And apparently a lot, a lot of people. And the criminality that's happening there now. Like every time I go, I don't see it, but I keep hearing it. Don't wear your expensive watch and so on. And then I'm like, I'm so sad. London used to be so great, but yeah, I definitely believe it. And one of my mantra, which also my friends are using now, is like, I'm in the right time, in the right place. And that's why I believe I also got stuck here, with COVID, when everyone was like, you shouldn't even fly, no. And everyone was so scared.
I know,
and I'm like,
projecting it onto you, right?
I'm going.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had something in me that I didn't care. But of course, you believe everyone around you.
Of course.
And me always believing I'm in the right place in the right time, I feel like I've also dodged a lot of like scary situation and stuff. So I continue saying that I know that Dubai is the right place to be right now.
Dubai, if it wants to keep you, it'll keep you. But it also speeds up your development. And you know what it is? It's like, we talked about ego before. They say, when the misconception about ego is that we should be getting rid of our ego and it's not good to have ego. But there's a lower id, we call it, that ego. But there's the true ego. Because you're never going to get rid of the ego. It's not just negative, obviously. But when you're living your higher self, then you have your true ego and you're operating from your dharma. You're operating from this, frequency, right? And then you're attracted to certain clothes and everything else that kind of aligns to your frequency, and it's all beautiful.
Ego actually means me in Latin. So my dad always says that you have a positive ego and negative. He says, and it's not scientific clearly, he says that negative is 49 and positive is 51. And you decide who you're going to feed, you know?
Oh, the wolf.
Yeah, maybe that one. And, you know, and sometimes I think ego is so clever that makes you believe that you're doing the right thing. Actually, you do it from ego, the negative ego, you know? And that's why you have to put a pin on it and focus. And this is the hard challenge for me, like, because I have moments I'm like, no, this is what I deserve. But I'm like, okay, is it maybe ego or is it actually what I deserve?
You know what? We did plant medicine, right?
Yes.
And I remember the guy who leading it from Peru, if I get this right, somewhere along those lines. And this particular one was Yopo. I don't know if you know it. You know
I
it,
haven't,
yeah?
no.
And they call it the grandfather medicine. And he kind of aligns you up before you take it and says, look, when you're under there, you know, you've got to stay in this one position and you can't move. And if something happens, you know, if you move, then you could kind of like fall off into space, let's say. Like, okay, this
I've heard
is kind
of
of
it
freaky.
actually, yeah.
But he says, like, these things are going to come to you and want to gift you things. Don't take the gifts. And you're like that. What? You know, like these entities are going to come and give you this. So when you're under it, it's quite a trip. First you see like a silhouette, like going around and around. Your eyes are closed, and it's like a silhouette, like a child, like playing, and then like a dog jumping around. I'm like, okay, this is trippy. What is going on? And then you kind of spin out, and a lot of people at that time purge because it's quite like, I'm not even sure what it is I'm seeing here. And then it's like your ego or all these entities come along, and then it's like it's talking to you, it's trying to give you something. And then it's like reaching out, and you don't even realizing that you tell yourself, I'm not going to take anything, and then you start taking it. And then it takes you to somewhere else, and then you realize, oh no, I've taken it, I'll give it back. Oh my God, like, you know, what does that mean? So it's like your ego tricks you, and it thinks that what it's doing, you know, is a good thing, or that you are right. And then you realize that's what you do in your waking life. Because in that state, everybody's reality is subjective based on their own conditioning. So, you know, everybody thinks they're honest in some way, but really, how can you be when you're perceiving reality to be looked at one way, conditioned, you know, your certain things that you believe in and everything else. And you think you're being honest when you don't even know if you're being honest with yourself. And most people are not. If you're especially if you're living in your survival place, and you're in your amygdala, and for most people, like I was in that place, I wasn't honest at all. I couldn't even be honest with myself. And I'm becoming even more honest to myself every day as I stand in my power and go, right, this is who I truly am. So then I wasn't truly me then. So the people interacting with me then didn't really know me, so I wasn't being honest. And they're probably not being honest. But you only know that when you step out of survival and you step into that place of, can you then truly know who you are, and you can step into that power. But most people throughout millennia have never really experienced that because everybody's been surviving for so long.
Yeah, they don't have the tools, and also like it's scary for sure. But it's very empowering. The ego thing is funny. Like I actually went to do plant medicine because I wanted to get rid of my ego, because my father always says like, you know, it's like your ego is out of the world, you know.
You said about your ego.
Yeah, that's what my dad says. And,
and
you know, we've had a difficult relationship with him, but I went to I was literally, okay, I've done all this normal healing stuff. I'm very spiritual myself. Let's try something new and something extreme. You know, you have to write down intentions and stuff. And it was funny. I literally borderline spoke to my ego, you know, who explained, like, I'm not here to do bad, you know. I'm here to teach you. And I trust you to like know how to use me, and it was very like enlightening, and it was very empowering. Like I've done actually together like 5 ceremonies, and every time is completely different. Like I'm a different person, but I'm telling you, it changed me as well as a person, and I will never forget. Like lots of people just like, okay, I'm gonna be like this forever. Then they go normal back to like a corporate job or 9 to 5, whatever, and gone in a week's time. Gone.
Of course, because the environment takes over.
Yeah, and for me, it was like not only that it's gone, I actually put it in practice. You know, we have a great relationship with my dad now. You know, all of these things I saw from my past and future, it's incredible. And the ego was a big thing. So I wanted to get rid of it. And the ego said, no, because then this is you, Margeri. You want to like disappear.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, I don't want to die.
You know, jump off a cliff and then no ego.
Yeah.
Well, I remember Wayne Dyer saying, you know, ego means edging God out. And it's like, you know, when we get so hooked onto an idea that we want to lose the ego, then we, funny enough, polarize the idea of I want to lose the ego. So then the ego shows up even more so because it's polarizing, it's balancing you out. So the ego, then you're having a battle of yourself. That you're trying to get rid of yourself because you haven't actually loved that part of yourself. It just needs love. It doesn't. It's not looking to be abandoned. It's not looking to be get rid of.
It's like a little
It's actually
kid,
just like, no, I just want love.
Yeah.
And because love transcends all. Love heals all.
Yeah.
And if we're going in there because we want to fight the ego, we want to do this. I had a guest on, Johnny Dar, who's a really awesome dude who's created the AOI machine that does light frequency, that decodes you. And but he was fighting. And he was having internal battle, and it was on the outside showing because it was on his inside. And we got to the root of it, you know, onto the podcast, which was pretty cool. Oh, wow. He had a breakthrough, and I'm really looking forward to getting that one out there, you know. And because it's this idea of, you know, fighting ourselves, fighting our ego, that we, you know, there's something that we don't quite understand because everybody's showing up around us that we're attracting to show parts of ourselves that we have yet to love. And it all comes down to love. I mean, illness, cancer, whatever disease, is to bring us back into equilibrium, is to bring us back into love.
Yeah, love.
And that is it, in a nutshell, you know? If we're looking at everything, the idea of if you're taking sides, we're in duality, and, you know, right or wrong, whatever it is to guide us back into love. Yes. And that's ultimately it. And which you've met with your hubby, even if he's waited 10 years.
He said he will wait another 10 years if needed.
He's a romantic, isn't he?
Actually, opposite of romantic. So I think I'm the first one bringing it up on him. So he was completely.
He's romantic with you. With everybody else, I'm sure, is
exactly.
like,
I'm telling
he's a cool guy.
Very lucky girl. I am. Well, he's luckier though.
Well, you both, you know, you just
I know.
complementary opposites.
Yeah.
As they say. So yeah. So anything else you want to share about your brand, about your? I mean, here we are.
Here we are. I'm just like so enjoying the spiritual talk. I mean, I think we said it all, but I mean, like, of course, we would love to get like people be more aware of the frequencies around them. You know, of course, put yourself in positive situation, like pet your dog or like play with your kids or watch a funny movie. I watch Friends all the time when I need some boost.
Sure, you really are very similar to us. My wife loves it. So
I know them like I can quote every episode. But just to continue, I'm like the clothing is such an easy life hack to have this high vibrational positive. And I'm not talking about our kimonos per se. Go and buy like a linen shirt or cotton shirt, and it can sometimes cost the same much as a polyester, you know, shirt, which is very stylish. You know, for them to focus on the healing, it's like you have a massage, you have a meditation, you put skincare on your face. You know, this is self-healing. Like you go and like wash your hair and brush your hair. This is equal to us to actually wear good clothing on your skin because your skin is covered all the time. Yeah, I think that's the message, you know, and of course to love each other and support each other. I feel, you know, I've done a new thing, like I hacked the matrix. That's also what I'm saying.
Hack the matrix.
Yeah, there is a test, like because we're not built like this, but you know. Every day, and it sounds so easy, but it's actually not when you start doing it. Do a kindness, do act of kindness, however it is. You compliment like a barista, or you give a tip to, like, you know, beggar. We don't have beggars in Dubai. You know? Or you know, you do something out of normal, so that even the person, when you say it or give it to them, they will be like, oh, what's happened? And this is hacking the matrix so that actually you can start seeing different things in your life, not the routine that you're living in. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but it's not just me doing it. I saw it in TikTok. Yeah. And there is incredible stories. So I challenge everyone to do it. Be an everyday act of kindness, whatever it is. You can come up with it, you know.
Could even be a smile.
Yeah, exactly. To like a bus driver or, you know, like like call your mom is like not that, or call your father, something, or no, something like you would never usually do. Buy a coffee for like someone that is behind you. In London, that was great.
Oh, the feeling that you get when you do something for a stranger,
Yeah, but
or
it's
just
for
an
the
act.
stranger. It
Yeah.
changes their day. And you know, when everyone has a good energy in a day, everything around us will start changing. You know, you're not stuck in a traffic suddenly. You're like, that's odd. I got so lucky. You know, all of these little things.
You know what? Some people might. Okay, I love the. I mean, 100%. I agree with you. But you know what? Sometimes people can do it and feel proud.
Yeah, if you
And
don't
then
do
when
it
you feel
wrong.
proud, that's when the universe goes, oh, okay, this is where we balance you out. And, then you attract shame, right? To bring you into balance. So it's that, how do you do a kind act and without telling anybody?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who, who do something, put it on videos and everything else.
yeah,
Neither
that's-
good or
that's
bad, like
different, yeah.
whatever people want to do.
Yeah.
But the idea you do something and you want to tell other people about it, then you become proud of what you do. And then you just have to be balanced out. And I think that's what it was talked about when, in the biblical text, but they didn't really, I don't think, they didn't explain what the universal laws were, why it was so important not to tell people why you're doing a kind act. You're doing the kind act because of that person who receives it. You're giving something to them. They're also giving something to you because of how you feel. Nothing's missing. You're both giving something to each other. And that's what it is. When you then tell people about it in a way that, oh, I just did this, then the universe then goes, okay, you're feeling proud. Well, pride before the fall.
Yeah, I never thought about it, but you're right. Yeah, not that I'm telling people, but it's like it's part of the lifestyle. Like walk your neighbor's dog, whatever. These little things that you usually wouldn't do. You wouldn't even talk to your neighbors, really.
It's true. But here in like Alberaro, everybody's a neighbor,
Here
all
is
talking,
different, yeah.
jumping on, doing things like this,
But yeah.
working together and making all this because, this is the vision. It's making local communities global communities. Because here we are, like, in London and places like you forget about what community is. You give it up to major corporations, that kind of govern, the urban life,
Yeah.
It's not about the community
Yeah.
feels so much.
And we need community as humans. Like it's everything, the tribe. And I think COVID really helped a lot of people do wake up, and look what is out there actually. Like, what am I doing? And a lot of people became spiritual, I feel, and find. And that was a massive step further.
COVID is not, people say it as, it was the worst thing ever, but it's also the best thing ever,
For me, it was
it's
the best
changed.
thing
So,
ever,
and depending on where you are and, and how you perceive life, you as cliche as it is, when some life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? And here we are, this moment of time of history, and we decided to do something with it that made our lives, propelled our lives forward. And that's not to feel guilty about that because somebody else is struggling. It's dependent on how you perceive and receive life.
It created communities, I feel, like people left the cities, became more like, let me be independent.
Yeah.
So that's very beautiful. That, of course, it also divided, so you can see clearly who is coming in your team, who is actually going opposite. So that also clarified a lot, I feel, especially in my circle.
Yeah.
And it's good because you mentioned the communities, and this, I think it helped a lot.
One of the leading factors of longevity is the social network within communities.
Yeah. I read the book Ikigai, right? And that mentions it as well, how important is that the purpose is to actually have people around you, have your best friend, because then you live for each other, and it gives you the energy and boost. Alone, you're not meant to be alone at all.
Well, no, this is the social structure is what, like, that's why people are living over 100 years of age because they have that.
Exactly.
There's
like
that Netflix show.
The
over 100. The Blue Zone. And they have commonality is, they move around.
Very simple soup. That's my favorite soup. They eat like veggie soup.
Yeah,
that's the
things
main
like
food.
This. Yeah.
And they're always around and happy. And, in metropolitan cities, it's all built for you to be alone or date around, and like, and just work. So it's opposite, which we see now. It was a dream before for me, but now it's like,
I never thought I could even exist. Like what life we're living.
Yeah.
From where I was before, this may as well be, after you die. This is heaven. You know.
I was ready to continue going as well. That's what I'm saying. COVID like really helped me to like break free, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the new earth. Like your eyes open up, and it's like, well, how did this reality even exist?
Yeah.
But you know what? It doesn't mean there's not challenge, because if you think you're going to have a life without challenge, then
you have to always go to the next level. So you're always going to have a challenge. You get here, okay, great. You're happy here. You are married. You're doing your thing. Let's do a challenge. Do you want to go forward? And you continue doing the challenges, until, you're like, okay, I can't do it anymore.
It depends how big those challenges are, right?
Yeah.
But, we've got the life, we've got the vigor, we're young, that we kind of want to take on these big challenges. And, it feels like now is the time to be able to do that and to create and lead the way, like the KimonoGirl, the frequency, high frequency clothing. That's what everybody's been searching. And the things like Primark and everything else will be soon the old earth, the thing of the past.
It's already old earth a little bit, but so many people are in old earth because the money and knowledge.
But it's understanding, like, what is money, why, why we attract it. And those who not looking to take responsibility,
but that's,
and want to stay there because it's a choice. It's not
it's
like
easier.
for them. It's not like it serves them. And there's positives and negatives being there. We've been there, so we understand it. So that we have, we have a different perspective because we've been there. We're able to discern, a little bit more of the old earth and what that way would look like to what the new earth, and go, wow, what is possible? Yes, there's going to be challenges, but there's also equal amount of support. So if whatever happens, and the universal law is you can't have challenge without support, you may as well go big. You may as well just go, you know what, I'm just going to like jump off that cliff. I don't care how high it is. I'm sure I'll figure it out because the support's going to come in. And the amount of times when I used to work with Success Resources, and we used to have these, before I, was on stage myself, these people would go up on stage and they would share their story, and that moment when they was challenged the most, and then they didn't know if they were going to make it, and then the support came in at that moment, that phone call that ever happened. And it, and there are people that, maybe didn't make it, but what was it that they didn't make? Because the support would have come in, but did they receive it in that way, or did they see themselves as because I've been there, I've challenged myself and I've flopped. I've jumped off that cliff and I smashed into the ground,
But you survived.
And I survived, but because of my mentality at the time, I wasn't able to perceive the support that was actually happening simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
So it was there, I just didn't perceive it.
Maybe your ego was blocking you.
My
get
ego,
the help and stuff,
the payoff of being the victim, or other circumstances. I just couldn't. My perception of the event was too extreme that I just couldn't get into my head that there was support. And so when you go into that place, then you fall into the victim mindset, and then it's very hard to get out of that place. But you're not willing to give up, and then you step out of it, and then you look back at that moment and go, God, that time that I really struggled, I actually do see where the support came in, but I just couldn't. I didn't have the mind's eye to see it then. But I was supposed to not see it at that moment to lead me to the next place. Place. But you only see the divine order once you're out of it, and you can look back at it. And then you can see the divine order in the moments that come because you have the hindsight.
That's what Steve Jobs was also saying. You can only trust that the dots will come together later when you look back, because in the middle, when you're going through the journey, you would never know. You just hope the best, and it usually is the best. It's divine. So trust the process and trust the universe. I'm always trusting the universe. Everything that is meant to be will be.
Well, you're a perfect advocate for that because you're living that life.
I am living now, I can say.
So
now,
it's like, coming out of there, like that relief.
I know, so
we're here now. Once you're here, and there's one thing about working hard and then getting there, then it's a different ballgame of staying there and then carrying on evolving.
It also gets, I have so many days I feel like, it's granted. Yeah, it's like, and then I'm like, oh my God, be very grateful right now.
No, you feel like it's like about to be taken away. Whoa.
Because you get used to good things, you get used to so easily. Like, that's normal, I have this, that's normal, But actually when you look back, or especially when you look at your friends that maybe haven't like rocketed so quickly in the last few years, then you like are becoming very humble. You're like, I'm very, very lucky. And I'm like very grateful. I do lots of gratitude exercises, and it's magic. It's a magic trick, I feel. The more grateful you are, the more things coming. And I live after that. But of course, I also forget. Listeners, I'm completely the same like you. I can talk the big talk, but I have days I'm like, this is the end of the world.
You know what it is? It's that is 100%. And funny enough, on our New Earth cafe emblem that you see up there, the Fibonacci sequence, the code,
Like
you know,
the
that
sun.
circle.
Here,
show
yeah,
it to
yeah.
the
That
crowd.
image,
There you
yeah.
go. Show it to everybody. Put it on the camera there. You see
here.
that little. So I had this. I remember hearing it from somewhere. So when you go around from the top, okay, they're not going to see that, but you go around here. There's that expansion. You know, like the top
here.
part. Oh, there you go. That makes a lot more sense. So there's the expansion. So let me do it for you here.
Yeah, it is the.
So there we are when we feel our biggest self, and then we regress and we feel like. Let me start from here. We feel small, and then we feel big, and then we feel small, and then we feel big, and then we feel, and it's continuously like this. It goes bigger and bigger and bigger. Because there's moments where you feel absolutely top of the world.
Yes.
And then there's that moment where you feel the absolute opposite, and it's more extreme when you're
It's
in
like
your
a
amygdala
heartbeat.
and the stress.
Up, down, up,
Exactly.
down. And if it would be like this, you would
You're
be
dead.
dead.
So, but if you can get close to that line without feeling the emotional waves, because it's
Yeah.
emotion, it distorts reality. Because then you have a view of yourself. Like I've been there where I'm feeling like this, and next minute I'm like, like,
I know.
where's the New Earth? It's like a dot to me now.
Yeah.
It's the furthest thing away from me.
Exactly.
And like, okay, what is it that I need to learn? Why did I take something for granted? And you start asking these questions,
yeah.
and then something happens, and you're back into your thing.
I've
and-
had with KimonoGirl, I'm like about to quit. Like this is it, it didn't work out. Like, okay, it's not enough to make me money. And then I'm like, but what are you talking about? It's just like I have to talk myself out, and then later I'm embarrassed. I'm like, I can't believe I thought like this,
Well, it's also to test you to see how much
Is
you
it?
really are committed to
Yes,
it.
exactly.
And I've had other ideas and I just haven't been committed. I'm thankful I didn't stay there because then I wouldn't be here today. It's like the story with Christian Bale. I don't know why this has come to me. He went for the role of Robin in Batman.
Oh my God, yes.
And, he didn't get the role with George Clooney. And, I'm sure he beat himself up about not getting the role, but good for him. Many years later, he became Batman,
Yeah.
So we may not get what it is we think we really want right now. And I've not got many of the things I thought I wanted then to lead me towards what was truly something that I really can commit my life to. And the same goes with you.
Yeah.
So, we've all gone there. And even when you have the thing that you want to commit your life to, and there's some moment you want to throw your towel and just live as a bloody monk in a mountain somewhere. Because
Exactly.
you think to yourself, well, if it's not this, then what else is there? Because this is where I'm now here.
Yeah.
Like, I've planted my feet. This is it now. And if it's not this, then what the heck is it going to be? And then you have to confront every part of yourself that is getting in the way of you manifesting your dreams, And that's about committing your life to it and being able to get through the challenges that, you're going to bring into your life to become the very person who's going to innovate and make high frequency clothing a thing that once people never heard of, but now it's a normal thing for the future.
Yes.
It takes that because nobody's ever done it before. And then, so it means that you have to dig deep and go,
it's gonna be
I have to
harder.
pull something out. Like, with self-love, like, can we, we're looking to make a brand that's not about even the products. It's actually the ethos and the philosophy
Exactly.
first.
But
and
then
the products are really the anchor.
Exactly. And that also means right now your customers will be very specific. It's not for everyone yet. They have to get it, which also gives a little bit of peace of mind. I mean, for me, I'm like, it's not for everyone. That doesn't mean that you failed, that you don't do tens of thousands of dollars a month sales. Like, if you do a little bit less, it's okay. It's already better than nothing.
Exactly. I just sold another one. Like, you just sold all the trousers, all the pants.
Oh my God, I sold so much. I sold like 10 pieces over the 4 days, which was a lot of.
And then we have to understand, like, what is success, right? I mean, the fact you're living this life and you're doing this already is something I dream that you were on that tube 5
that's
years
true.
ago thinking like...
I wouldn't even dream. I was dreaming to be like a VP or MD of now I'm like, no, thank you.
You see what I'm saying? And so you might not be money focused because ultimately that is the world we're stepping in. The new earth is not money.
Apparently, do you know, I didn't know that, but my husband was literally, because he looked at me from the side, he's like, apparently you're not money motivated at all. Otherwise you will do things very differently. And I was like, really? Oh my God, I would have never thought, because I've been chasing the salary and higher last 10 years, which I've done successfully. So I thought this is my mission, right? Whatever I put my time on it, I have to have a paycheck. And now apparently I'm just doing it for vision, mission, empowerment. And I'm like, God, if I don't get money out of it, I just put it back, you know?
Exactly. Well, that's what it is. When you're in survival and you're living from that place, then of course you need money.
Then you,
Of course, that's what's going to drive you. It's what drove all of us. We're in sales because
and fear,
and then you're in
apparently.
that immediate gratification. So you
Yeah.
spend it, you don't really ever save it, and you're the illusion is that you think you're gonna. But it costs to have a job.
It's
it costs to
so
live that life.
crazy.
That you have to do it for basically forever until you realize, wait a minute, I'm in this rat race. I'm in that wheel going around. Okay, I've got to pull myself
could
back.
be
It's
shiny,
very
very
enticing.
shiny, yeah.
I get to distract myself all these things, but then to what end? And when you step out of it and then you align to something where it's a purpose and it's not about the money, and you know that money will
I know.
come.
It's so funny even now when we speak about it, to say I'm not money motivated. That sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I would be, because I would run my business differently, you know.
Well-
but then it's beautiful I'm not, because that I've learned a lot about myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a different person, you know. But absolutely, what you mentioned about London thing, like, I was earning money, but I spend everything because you work so hard. And now weekend, let's go to Ibiza, let's go to Mykonos, gone. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, actually, when I came out of it, I was over 30 already. I'm like, what do I have to show, you know? And there was very little beside experience.
Well, experience is also everything, and it's beautiful that you had those experiences for you to draw from and go, I'm able to, everything's relative. Thank you, Einstein. That you can compare it and go, okay, this is how I know this is important, because I've had that and I've climbed that ladder, and it didn't give me the sense of fulfillment that I get now with building this brand Kimono. And I know it's not about money, but it was about money then. So there's an aspect of myself which needed to value money because I was surviving. But my values have shifted. It's not about money, but I know that when I put my focus and love into this, that ultimately things will come. And you can realign yourself. You can make money more important if you link it to the KimonoGirl.
Yeah, maybe
and you
at
just
one point,
click.
that was not the focus now. Well,
Thankfully, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And and it will come, because when you're not in survival and you really are looking at a loving brand, when it does start to take traction, because it's not a short-term thing. It's not like you thought of the idea, it suddenly does really well for 1 year and then it's gone.
Yeah, it's a
When you
long-
put
yeah.
this in and it's for for the next 10 years, let's say, plus, and it's something that's starting an industry, it does take
Momentum,
time.
yeah.
Like I'm starting, we've got the New Earth Cafe, we've got the self-love, we've even got this channel that we put together.
podcast, so many things.
I mean, it's in a few weeks, the New Earth Cafe a year, self-love a year. These things, I mean, it's a year.
Yeah, and you
it's not
have
been
to
long
try
at all.
different things. What you have to find the target. But I think that this New Earth is very, very doing well, very popular. Everyone's here. Nowhere else to go. Like, it's perfect. It's here.
Don't tell that to people. It's all relative. There's nowhere else to go anyway.
No,
But
no,
I think
here there
no,
is
I'm
no
just-
place like this here. Of course, you have
other places.
But
and
this greenery and stuff, you can't compare it with anything else.
no, we're very
Yeah.
blessed. But you know what it is? It's not about like that idea of going, well, then once it's like KimonoGirl, once it's successful and get 10,000, orders a day, and then and then what? It's like, but it's the journey, because it's always about the journey. If you're climbing that mountain, every step and that what you're learning when you become that person who gets to the top of that mountain is the person you become to be able to get to the top of that mountain. And then when you're at the top of that mountain, it's fleeting. You don't live on that mountain, you move on,
Yeah,
right?
you
So it's
challenge.
all about the journey of it, the process, and who you become. And that's who you're becoming. You're realizing yourself that, I'm not the money person. That was that person then. I appreciate and love that person. So who am I actually becoming? Who is this person through
Yeah.
this brand that I'm creating? And you're going to learn more and more about yourself as
Yeah.
you go onto your journey. And it's just a start. And it's just appreciating, loving that every step.
Yes.
As it becomes, and then it will soon become what it needs
Yeah.
to become, and then it's like, okay, now it's there. Because there's a lot of people who have created their companies and they've got it there, and then they see that their companies now are so big that they don't even know what their place is in it anymore.
Yeah, they're in a wrong purpose there. Like, they're not happy as well. I have friends who are doing so well, but they're not happy. They gained weight. They're like got bald.
Yeah, they just-
like, because it's literally so stressful.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I did what I promised, but for what? Like being in a luxury hotel alone, like eating here alone, you know?
That's the illusion that we're
Yeah.
fed within society, because when you're surviving and you're the one who works the hardest and you step over everybody else to get
Yeah.
there, then of course you're going to be alone. And then you realize that, wait a minute, I've worked that hard. My life is going,
I mean, they
I
have
don't
the
even get
money.
to enjoy it so much because longevity is linked to the social structure. And if I've stepped over everybody to get to where I got to, then I'm clearly going to be alone.
That's very bad karma.
And then you have to feel like to yourself, well, okay, now I'm here. If only I'd known that before. And then when you're in the active service to others and you start to realize that and you put that energy into something where you're actually your higher self, because we all have that thing that we all have that's unique to us. We go, oh, if I could just find what that is and then put that into the world, our own unique flower or our own unique, what we are, we're our own thing. If you plant us, something new is going to show up. Every single person has that individuality, like our fingerprints.
Yeah, the finger. Yeah, this podcast has been very good, like reminder, or like you sometimes need to like talk it out, not just think about it, but say it out loud. And I'm very motivated right now to go and
Inspired.
I'm inspired. I'm very inspired, to even implement it more and more in my life.
Well, that's what this is about, because we're on our journey. And it's like to support each other and go, you know what, this is why we're doing it. You're not alone. The New Earth is not one person or two people. It's every single person that we're talking to. And you're building what you're building, and to know you're not alone and that we're also doing our thing. We can support each other. And this is about supporting.
About support and community.
Absolutely. And challenging you a bit if you had any misconception about something.
Calling you out, yeah.
So it's been awesome to have you on here.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much,
Margeri,
Alex.
thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Been an absolute blessing. Done. Da-da-da-da-da. Music out. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
that's very nice.